Hi, Dante here with another Weil-McLain tech tip video. Today I'm standing here with an AquaBalance series of boiler. Of course, our AquaBalance comes as heat only and combi versions. Both versions of these boilers have parameter menus that are necessary to access, sometimes for troubleshooting and definitely if we want to do a conversion from natural gas to LP or back the other way. We have to change some parameters, some of the operating parameters of the boiler. So it's necessary to get into the configuration mode. So to get into the configuration mode, it's quite simple. We're going to find these two DHW plus and minus buttons and we're going to hold those together for 10 seconds. Once we make good contact with those buttons, you see that little icon line in there starts to wiggle, and that wiggling line actually counts off a second each time. So 10 seconds gets us into that, and you can see that we were flashing the BO1, and then it went to the set point of the BO1, which is 0, 1. I happen to know that BO1 is actually the setting for LP if I wanted to make it a natural boiler, 0, 0. But assuming we're going to make this an LP boiler, we'll go ahead and make it the 01. If I want to look at the second parameter, and bear in mind there are 28 different parameters. Just a tip, sometimes if the boiler is acting strange, not doing what it should, I like to look at all of those different parameters just to make sure that they align with the defaults that are in the book. So we can look at the second parameter. We're going to come to the central heating buttons down here at the bottom, and as I just push one, it's going to take me to BO2. So all of the configuration mode parameters start with a B, and I can take a look at the setting for BO2. I can look at the setting for BO3 by toggling forward. So it's 0, 0. Every time I want to move to the next parameter, it's these central heating buttons, BO4, BO5. If I want to see what's inside of that parameter, I'd come to the DHW plus. Once I get to, say, BO6, I want to go backwards, it's just the negative button. So quite simple to navigate through these parameters. Every time you make a change, you don't have to save it. It will automatically save when we advance to the next button. So that's it. To back out of this menu, it's the exact same to reverse out. We're going to get the DHW buttons plus and minus for 10 seconds. And that's going to get us back to our typical standard screen where we can read, the supply temperature sensor and so forth. So how do I get into that installer mode that I talked about? Remember, the installer mode has transparency parameters, and it has that inquiry mode. That's what's that's the jewel inside of that particular one. So how do I get there? It's pretty simple also. We're just going to push this reset button for 20 seconds. So once that line begins to wiggle its way around, it's actually working its way into that parameter section. We'll get in there, we'll take a look. It'll be flashing a TS if everything here works for me as it should. As soon as it counts its way out, we're flashing TS. So at this point we now have the option to pick the menu that we wanted to go into. So if I wanted to go into those transparency parameters, I would just go ahead and push that reset button real quick, and it's going to show PO1. The transparency parameters start with the letter P as in playground, and then if I wanted to read the value of that, I just come up here and it's 50. Now if I want to look at the next one, we're going to go to the central heating set point down here, O2, read the value, it's O2. I want to go to O3, 04, and so forth. You see how we're going there. Remember, to get in there, we pushed that reset button real quick. I'm just going to push the reset button again real quick. That's going to get me back to a flashing TS. And then I can go from TS, if I want IN. IN stands for inquiry, and I'm going to just push that reset button real quick. T01, that's the supply temperature sensor. The supply temperature sensor reads twice, so the first two parameters are that supply temperature sensor. It's redundant for safety, and by the way, that's a fantastic feature that comes in Weil-McLain boilers. So we can go ahead and read the value of that temperature sensor, 82 degrees. If I want to go ahead and look at the second reading off of that supply temperature sensor, TO2, it's also 81 degrees, as I would expect. If they get to a greater than 10 degree spread, then the boiler will give you an indication that you're having a temperature sensor issue. But as I want to go ahead and move on to the next temperature sensing, you'll see that we can get all the way through those temperature values. So that's quite a nice feature. If I want to back out of there, it takes me next to the history mode. I could pop into history mode and read the history values and so forth. So we'll leave that for now, and we're just going to back our way out of this again, and we're going to reverse the exact same way. Now remember, if you hop in your truck and you forgot to take it out of one of these temperature one of these modes, then it'll default itself back after a period of time. I think 10 minutes of inactivity or so. So here we go. It's going to return itself back to the normal. I hope this is helpful for you. If you have additional questions, feel free to reach out and give us a call. Our 800 number is 654-2109. There are multiple people standing by for you. Select the appropriate option, whether you need tech service or warranty or customer relations. So thank you very much. Hope this was helpful, and have a great day.